Jam nutted.
Welcome to another episode of My Legacy Garage. Today, it's finally going to happen. We're going to put a clutch in the old yellow truck here so that we can actually get on it and see how fast it will liquefy some rear tires. I'm looking forward to that. How about you? The downside is it's really hot out today. Very limited on time. We're going to tear it apart and see how far we can get. Let's get started.
Step 1, elevate the truck. Done. Step 2, go underneath before you turn the camera on and make sure you can do what you said you're going to do. Minor issue, but we're going to go under and take a look and show you what I mean.
Right there we have a transmission mount bolt that won't come all the way out because it's hitting the header. I got this side out and it's loose. It won't come all the way out, but it's plenty loose. The transmission will come out of there. So we're going to have to unhook everything and lift the transmission to get that one out the rest of the way. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward. We're going to have to unhook the shift linkages up there on the side of the transmission, and then there's a bolt right here that we're going to have to take out that'll take this whole shift assembly off, and then the bracket and stuff for it. This is the back side of that bolt, but this bracket and the bracing and everything will all stay on the transmission and come out with it. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward. Undo the bell housing bolts, pull the clutch linkage off. This has a bell housing mounted starter, so we're going to have to take it off, which reminds me we should unhook the battery. And then we're going to have to get the drive shaft off. We'll take the carrier bearing bolts out of that and slide it out. And got a speedo cable right there that'll have to come off. And then I think she should pop out of there. All right, let's get to it.
I've been working on the old girl now for close to an hour, and I think we're ready to pull the transmission. Let's go underneath there. I'll show you what I've done and what's dripping everywhere, and then I guess let's yank it out of there. Cool.
We've got the shifter and the speedo cable off. Drive shaft is out and dripping. A nice puddle on the floor. I have got all the bell housing bolts out. And the starter, you can see, is kind of hanging right there. I think we're ready to put a jack under it, jack it up, get that one stubborn mount bolt out, and then slide her out of there. So let's see how that goes.
Whew! It is hot out here. Transmission's out. I'm not sure how I'm getting it back in there. The exhaust is in the way. I mean, like, everything's in the way. It was a nightmare. But it came out, and everybody knows that if it comes out hard, it's going to go back impossible. Am I right? So that should be a neat trick. In the meantime, let me take you under here and show you what kind of voodoo I did. And then I think we're going to call it a day. Yeah, I like that plan.
Let's start with the star of the show here. There is the transmission. It came out on that jack, fell off the jack about halfway out, and then just kind of fell out from between those exhaust pipes. There's oil everywhere. And I do mean everywhere. And then we've got some voodoo cribbing here holding the engine up with the other jack that only sort of kind of works. And then lo and behold, we now have access to the clutch. Hallelujah. That's going to be a tomorrow problem, because for today, I've had enough. It's out. That's the important part. Am I right? She's awfully greasy. Shoo. I wonder if it didn't get grease and grease soak that clutch, and that's what's wrong with it. Wouldn't surprise me. I guess we'll find out. Anyway, we'll see you back out here tomorrow for more ridiculousness.
It's the next day, not weeks later. I am shocked that that worked out, because it usually doesn't. But here we are. Here's the truck. let's get that clutch ripped out of there and see what's wrong with it, and then go to the parts store and hope they have something to stab in there. All right, let's do it.
There it is, folks. The old clutch is out. She's a little bit rough looking. Smells super burnt. Pressure plate's smoked. This is an 11-inch clutch, and the new one that I just picked up for it is a 12-inch clutch, and I'm thinking that'll help without having to spend buku bucks on some fancy race clutch or whatever. So let's take a look at that. Here's our brandy new 12-inch clutch. It's a whole kit. We've got the pressure plate, throwout bearing, alignment tool, the whole 9 yards. So I guess the next step is to get the flywheel cleaned up and get that bad boy put in there. Fun. Back under the truck we go. I also had to put some oil spill cleanup down there. It's a bit of a mess under there. I guess we should try to clean that up a little bit before we get under there and get back to work. That's gonna have to do for now. At least it's not a huge puddle anymore that my shirt sleeve hangs in. I guess now we gotta get underneath of there and get that flywheel prep, get this clutch installed, and we're gonna find out if I'm capable of lifting this thing back up in there by myself or not.
So I tried doing some recording under the truck. It just ain't gonna happen. I can't work under there in that real tight space and hold the camera, and the tripod's too big to fit under there, and I tried sitting on the floor like I did when I was sweeping the crud out from underneath of there, but it's just not gonna work. I'm sorry. I'm gonna show you how to clean a pressure plate because I did that to the flywheel already. Same process for it. You want those two nice and clean, and make sure your hands are relatively clean. You know, spray them off with brake clean to wipe them down. You don't want any oil on your fingers when you're touching these clutch components, especially the friction disc. It'll contaminate it and make your clutch slip. That's the story anyway. I think there's a little bit of tolerance there, but it's a good idea. Best practice. Keep it as clean as humanly possible. Anyway, let's clean this pressure plate. This right here is your pressure plate, and it is basically the opposite of the flywheel, and the clutch disc gets pinched between this and the pressure plate. So you don't want anything like oily or, you know, they put rust preventative and stuff on this thing. So you want to clean it all off real good, just like, you know, new brakes, because you sure don't want your clutch to be slipping. Brand new clutch tearing up. So you do this to this, do the same thing to the flywheel. Make sure there's no gouges or grooves or anything worn into your flywheel. If there is, you need to turn it. This one's good. It's a little greasy, which I suspected was the issue all along with the clutch. And you're good to go. There you go. I'm going to do that one more time, then I'm going to go under the truck, slap it in there, and then take the camera in there and show you what it looks like in place. Got the new clutch and pressure plate installed. We've got the line-up tool in here, and you want to make sure this moves nice and free in and out like that. Easy peasy. Because if it binds the least little bit coming in and out, you're going to have a nightmare trying to put your transmission in. So you want that thing to move nice and easy. Other than that, it's just a matter of pull that alignment tool out of there and try and stab the transmission back in here. So that should be fun. The issue, of course, is the headers. We already established block the bolts for the transmission mount, but the bigger issue, honestly, is that the transmission doesn't fit up between these two exhaust pipes. So you have to kind of tilt it at an angle and then slide it up in there, and it's gonna be not fun. All right, let's see what we can do with that. Time for a new throwout bearing. Pop your fork off like so. Slide this off. You can see it's got kind of a raised piece right there, and you can see where one of the fork was riding on that. So you want to make sure you put the new one in the same way. Here you can see it. Right there's the raised piece. So we're gonna slide this on here, and then we're gonna put the fork on there in the right orientation. There you go. There it is installed.
throwout bearing, happy days. You'll also notice that this shaft has quite a bit of wobble to it, like quite a bit. So that transmission probably isn't long for this world, especially behind that 400, but we're going to run her till she pops. The other thing you got to do, put a little bit of grease on this input shaft. Not a lot, just a little, because if you put too much on it, it'll get on your friction disc and tear it up. But just enough to facilitate getting it into that clutch assembly without killing yourself. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then we'll see about stabbing her in there.
I have been steadily working on this thing. I'm going to take you under and show you what we got so far. It's really close to done, actually.
I was able to manhandle this thing up in here. The shifter is just sort of there. It's not adjusted yet. I did get the drive shaft hooked back up, speedometer cables hooked back up, all the bell housing bolts are in, mount bolts are in, starters put back in. I need to adjust the clutch linkage still. So I think it's just adjust the shifter and adjust the clutch linkage and put some gear oil in it, and it'll be done. There's a slight problem with that though.
And that problem is, it's quitting time for the day. I am out of time. It's time to go in the house, get some dinner, go back to doing, you know, real world stuff like cleaning, laundry, packing lunches for the week, because it's Sunday and it's, you know, work tomorrow, actual work that I get paid for. Let's close up the garage and go in and get some dinner. Not sure when I'll get back out here and get on this, but it'll be soon, maybe some night this week. It's not much to wrap up. I'd really like to take this thing for a ride, see what it's like with that new clutch. I bet y'all are looking forward to that too. I mean, if you've watched the video this far, surely the end goal is it drives, right? All right. Well, I'll see you when I see you.
Looks to me like it's French onion soup. Yummy. Some apple pie, bruschetta, and I heard a rumor that in the oven, well, I think there's some stuffed mushrooms in there. Oh yeah.
Well, I think I'm going to get cleaned up and eat some dinner. We'll get back to the truck, I promise. Stay tuned. It'll be like 2 seconds for you. See, I told you it was only going to be like 2 seconds. Now here we are, back out in the garage. It's a couple days later, Wednesday night specifically. It was Sunday when we let off last time. And we are going to get underneath of this thing, wrap it up, and probably not take it for a ride tonight, but at least it'll be ready for the next time I have a minute. So let's get under there and get her done. Well, everything was going great until I went to hook the clutch linkage up. We filled the transmission full of gear oil. That was fine. Got the shifter hooked up. A little bit of a pain. I had them upside down, but we got that straight. But the clutch linkage is nowhere near long enough, and I don't understand. I took a clutch out and put a clutch in, but you know, the fork and everything is all still the same. So I don't get it. I guess I'm gonna have to make one. I'm not sure. Let me show you what I mean here real quick.
This is the linkage that came out of the truck, and it's a good probably 3 inches short. If you pull the fork all the way forward and put the spring on it and then put this in there, this will just barely touch it, just enough to hang on there. And I pushed the clutch pedal down with a 2x4 and tried to turn the truck over, and it's definitely in gear. There's no clutch action at all. And when you push it in, you know, you can feel it's real loose. So I'm gonna get a piece of all thread, I guess, and see, this just slides off here. So if I get a piece of all thread and put a jam nut on it to rest this against, and then that'll fit through this thing right here, I think I can rig something up to make it work. So that's the plan. I'm gonna take that to work with me and stop at the hardware store and see what I can come up with. Wish me luck, y'all. Next time you see it, hopefully she'll be moving.
It's really hard to try and film under here, and I can't even tell if it's in focus, but that's the clutch fork right there and the rod, and it is all sorts of shy, so we're gonna see what we can do about that.
Gone underneath the truck and figured out how much longer I need this to be. So we are going to go ahead and set that up now. It needs to be about that long. I really should get a vise. Everybody uses a 55 Chevy as a workbench, right? Makes sense. Next thing we need to do is we need to get this block off of here. And I can't turn this back nut, so we're gonna cut it. That's what we're gonna do. Now that we've got that all cut up, we can work on putting it back together. Got a couple of nuts to jam this guy on here. And then we've got a couple of nuts on the end to jam nut it. And it's going to have to all be adjusted to where it needs to go and all that fun stuff. But we'll get there, I promise. Voila! New clutch rod linkage. Let's put it in, see what happens. Well, we've got that put in. Let's see if it feels like it has a clutch, shall we? Yeah. That certainly feels like a clutch. Let's put it on the ground and try it. Well, you just saw the truck back out of the garage, and that's where it stopped. And that's because I went inside to ask Jessica to come out and record a test drive for me, but she was really busy, and then I got busy, and then it started raining, and I had to put the truck back in the garage, and time just gets away from you. It's been weeks, months even. It's been a while since we put a video out, and we've just been really, really busy. We've got construction going on the house. We've got Jessica's sister's wedding coming up. It's been busy is what I'm trying to get at. And I didn't want to leave you guys hanging. I wanted to get this video done. So today, we're going to finish the video. But there's a few things you need to know first. Number one, I drove the truck to a car show, and the old dry rotted tires that were on it finally gave up the ghost. So now it's got brandy new tires on it. All the way around. Brand spanking new. So we've got that problem solved, and as I said, I've driven the truck, and the clutch works great. So I already know it's fine, but I need to show you guys just how much fun this truck really is, because it is a blast. It's a little warm out today, but we're going to take her out, run her around, see what we can do. Hopefully get something cool on video. Stick around. If y'all like this sort of stuff, make sure you do me a favor and hit that like button. It lets, everybody know, hey, this is a video worth watching. This channel's pretty good. Give it a shot. And, it works with the algorithm and all that stuff for YouTube search, that magic wizardry stuff. And if you really, really like it, hit the subscribe button. See what comes out next. There's all kind of vehicles sitting around here. We'll find something interesting to work on, I promise. Thanks for watching. All right, folks, here we go. Let's get some. Mild-mannered in third gear, just cruises right along, about 30 miles an hour, just putting along. It's nice. Good cruiser for around town. Highway, not so much.
my best just to get it to hook up and go, but this truck doesn't like to do that. It just likes to burn the rear tires off, and they're brand new and they're expensive, so I was trying to just go. You know, a little bit of effort is what it is, right? It's just part of having a hot rod.
There you have it, folks. She's fixed, she runs, she drives, she rips, she's fun. And has proven to be fairly reliable since the tire incident. Anyway, there'll be more to come on the channel. I'm not sure when. I'm really sorry for how long we've been delayed putting videos out. And I promise we haven't given up, and we're not going to give up. We like to put the content out. We love our fans, and we really appreciate all of you that watch our videos. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram. And like and subscribe if you want to see more. We appreciate it. Thanks for watching.